Hi there, Rebecca here, your vibe mentor, bringing you another video on how to raise your vibration so you can live your best life. Wanted to talk to you today about how to get out of the dark night of the soul. So I know that this is a very difficult time if you're experiencing a deep depression or even the dark night of the soul. It can be a gut wrenching, very, very difficult, probably one of the most difficult times in your life. And if you're not sure if you're going through a dark night of the soul, check out this video on is it on this side on how to identify whether or not you're in a dark night of the soul. So I'm not going to go into a lot of the symptoms today. I did talk about that in another video. So just check out that video if you're questioning what the symptoms are and how to determine whether or not a dark night of the soul is just a normal, typical depression, or if this is one of those life changing, awakening moments that really rock you to the core. And so, just in a brief overview, essentially, the dark night of the soul is an undoing. It is an unbecoming. It literally shakes every ounce of your being and every belief and every structure that you thought you had in your life. That it essentially is a giant pause that makes you question everything. It is kind of like a personal retrograde. So instead of moving forward in your life, you have been asked to stop and even reverse. And there is a general underlying theme of how everything that we thought that we should do is no longer working. Everything that used to work no longer works, and the life path that society has laid out for us and told us was going to make us happy isn't making us happy. And we finally have come to a point where we've tried everything, we did everything they told us to do, and it's still not working. We just can't seem to find that happiness and that fulfillment and that peace and that joy that we so desperately seek. And there is a soul sickness that is happening where the ego and the mind has run the show for far too long. The heart and the soul have been put in the back seat, and there comes a point where we realize consciously that everything we've been doing, even subconsciously, is not serving us. It's not getting us to where we're trying to go. It's not meeting our needs. And that soul sickness, that feeling in your gut of there's got to be something more, there's got to be something better, it won't leave you alone. And you finally come to a point where it feels like nothing really matters anymore. Nothing really, um, nothing really is sustainable, right? And everything that we thought that was going to make us happy doesn't make us happy. And so, essentially, what we're being asked to do is to redefine everything: who we are, how we operate, what matters to us, and what we're striving for, right? And it essentially is a disconnection from the way we thought we were, the way we thought life was, and a reevaluation of how it truly is. And it's a healing period. Essentially, we were programmed inaccurately by our society, by our parents, by our culture, by everything around us, and there is no fault in that. Who could you blame? No one knew any better. Your parents didn't know any better. You didn't know any better. And collectively, as a society, it's up for question whether or not they knew better, but it doesn't really matter because we're here now, and this is a blank slate. This is an opportunity to wipe the slate clean, to remove everything that we've ever known to be true, and to choose a different path. And so, hermit mode, being depressed, right? The depression of our energy, the depression of our mood, the depression of everything in life, right? It has a purpose. It's causing us to pause and to go into a healing phase and to go into hermit mode. It's kind of like the hibernation in the winter, right? The recuperation, the time of the seed in the dirt, where we have to go back to ground zero, scrap everything we thought we knew to be true, and rebuild, right? It's a total destruction. It is an explosion of everything you thought you knew, and a crumbling of all of the structures that you thought were going to make you happy, and a swiping of the slate. A bulldozer has come through and pushed all the rubble out of the way, and you're left with nothing. And that feels like a death. It feels like the end of the world because everything has crumbled. But at the same time, it's just like a new beginning, a blank slate, a white canvas, that it's just an opportunity to start over. And essentially that happens because we are misaligned with our soul purpose, right? The soul has become sick because the mind and the ego have driven the buggy, have run the show, and it's not supposed to be that way. The heart and the soul are supposed to run the show. And so when you have this soul sickness, it's because you've disconnected from your authenticity. You've disconnected from your true self. You've disconnected from your core nature. You've disconnected from who you were designed to be. We live this life they say we should, right? We go to school because they say we should. We get a corporate job because they say we should. We continue the family business because they say we should, right? Everything that we've done throughout our lives is because this is what we're supposed to do. This is what they told me to do. This is what this shoulds. We should all over ourselves instead of being raised to listen to your heart and to start asking yourself the question early on. At 4 and 5 and 10 and 15, we need to be exercising that muscle of listening to our heart, connecting to our guidance, and asking, what is right for me in this moment? What is my next right step? And being guided through our lives. We've also disconnected from our emotions, from caring about how we feel and what we need. That society tells us we should do all these things, and we've got a disconnect inside of us, a split between the supposed to and the want to, and what feels right versus what I have to do. And we learn to stuff down these feelings, these emotions that are supposed to be our guiding posts, right? Our way signs on the road that says this is right and this is wrong for me. No one can tell you what is right for you. Only you are connected to your source creator, and only you have your guidance system of joy and bliss and positive emotion and your bodily compass that says no versus yes, right? And we were never taught to listen to those things. We were taught to ignore those things. Our body must be broken, right? There must be something wrong with us because we're not happy by living this life that they've prescribed for us, right? And so we so early on started the process of stuffing and ignoring and numbing and hushing and distracting and avoiding, that we've got a lifetime built up in our bodies and in our emotional systems begging to come out. We've reached a breaking point. The cup is full and we're not emptying out. And so there comes this moment of explosion or implosion, really, where your life is just, it's not sustainable anymore, right? We've been so disconnected from our authenticity and who we were built to be that we've crumbled. And it's not sustainable. It's not something that you can do long term without massive amounts of coping mechanisms. That's where addiction comes from. That's why we have an epidemic of depression and anxiety. That's why we have crime and hatred and anger out in the world, because all of these things are pointing to something's not right. We got to correct this. We've got to course correct. And so the challenge is undoing all of this programming that has led us to this place. Redefining who we are, figuring out who we are for the first time. Know thyself. Hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, this is talked about. It's been known for a very long time that we have to understand who we are, what we need, what we're built for. That you are made with a purpose. You are perfectly imperfect for your purpose. There is not a single thing that is wrong with you. all of those shadows that we reject and pretend don't exist, we deny these parts of ourselves, they actually have purpose. And when you're living your purpose, when you're stepping into your gifts, your innate gifts, and you're using them to be of service and to contribute to society, all of the sudden those things that look dark and bad about you, they make sense because they serve part of your purpose. And so we grow up abandoning parts of ourselves. There's a split in the psyche. There's a fracture of who we are. And we pick and choose these parts of us and say, no, there's something wrong with you. You need to go on the back shelf. I'm going to deny you. I'm going to ignore you. I'm going to hate you. It doesn't work. You are a healthy, whole, and complete being in need of no validation. As long as you're in your authenticity, and you're embracing all that you are, you're embracing your gift and knowing that you are here for a reason. You are never an accident. There is nothing about you that is wrong with you. And when you step into the purpose, you step into the service, you are following your guidance. The ego is dead. We've surrendered everything. We're willing to say everything in my life can go, because I'm so fully surrendered. And that is what the dark night of the soul is asking you to do. That's step one. How to get through it is to surrender everything. And that was even very, very difficult for me. And only in recent months have I been able to come to a place to say, I fully, fully, fully surrender it all. The last piece was my kids. But even my kids, I have to say, even my kids, I'm willing to surrender it all, because I know in full faith that I am guided and cared for. That life is happening for me, not to me. And that even though I surrender all these things, I have full faith and confidence that they will be cared for and I will be cared for. You can take my car. You can take my house. You can take my money. You can take my kids. All of it. And then the freedom comes. We have to surrender the title, the job status, the marital status, keeping up with the Joneses, the bank statement, all of the external stuff that we use to validate ourselves, to feel worthy, to feel viable. You have a deep yearning to be important, to be needed, to be valued, because you're valuable. It's a natural need that we have been taught to meet in unresourceful methods. And so surrendering all of that is step number one. As long as we struggle to hold on to things, we're going to continue to struggle, right? What you resist persists. And so we have to really get into the letting go before we can fully grow back into who we were authentically made to be, before we can realize our true value and our true worth. So next, pause in life is designed for a restart. It's not a permanent pause. Nothing lasts forever. This too shall pass, right? So we have to be careful of catastrophic thinking and stay away from those moments where we're tempted to feel like this will last forever, because a pause is just revving you up, getting you ready. You're at the start line for a restart, right? You're rebuilding. So surrender to what is and learn to love what is and see it with gratitude and know that this is for you, not to you. That there's a gift in this, that you're being shown a mirror and there's a light being shown down on the things that are not working, so that you can find what does work, so that you can find yourself again, and so that you can live authentically and have that foundation that's sustainable, that nobody can take away from you, so that you can find your divine purpose. You can be a gift to the world. You can be of service and contribute. Everybody wants to be valuable. Everybody wants to be valued. And you do that through your gifts, through your service. And in the surrender to, even if they don't see it, you know it. And you're so connected to your Creator that nobody can take that away from you. So once we've surrendered, in the surrender, we have to ask questions. Asking makes you as king. As king, the question will keep you in growth instead of stagnation. When you make that statement, I can't, I won't, this is forever, right? These are brick walls. These are blocks that you put up for yourself. But when you ask the question, how can I move through this? What skills and strengths do I need to develop to get through this? Most important question is, how am I being asked to learn and grow? What lessons am I being asked to learn? Ask that question of your heart. Ask that question of your soul. Don't let the mind be the one to respond. And you will know the difference as soon as you start to practice listening and asking and noticing, where does it come from? You will see when something comes from your head versus your heart. Healing will bring back the zest for life. So don't worry about not having energy. Don't worry about not feeling that excitement for life, not feeling social anymore. That will come. It will come after the healing. So just rest in knowing that you're kind of like a bear in the middle of the winter. You're being asked to go into your cave, go in internally, spend time with your heart, breathe in and out of your heart, bring your focus and your awareness on your heart, and just sit there and talk to it as if it was another being that has the answers for you, because it does. Awareness of yourself and a new awareness of yourself is very, very common, so don't be startled by that. When people say they're awake or they are, ascending or they are conscious, it's just an awareness, right? You're not your thoughts, you're not your body, you're not the external things that you define yourself as. You are the awareness of yourself. You are the consciousness that watches your thoughts. There's a difference. And so just know that consciousness is going to grow and going to become greater, and it is your best friend, and it is the fastest way to get out of this. Loneliness is common, and it will not last forever. Again, this is just part of the hermit mode process. Self-care is going to be huge. Love on yourself. Talk to yourself in the mirror. Treat yourself as if you were your own parent, right? Give yourself a hug. I know it sounds silly. Give yourself a pat on the back. Give yourself a high five in the mirror, like Mel Robbins likes to recommend. But truly ask yourself, how much care am I giving myself? Genuinely, how much do I love myself, and how often am I caring for myself? Because that's going to be a very critical component. Surrender, I would say, is number one most important. Self-care, number two. And number three, ask questions. Ask questions. What do I need to learn? What do I need to do? What do I need to shift? What do I need to change? Do I need to let my job go? Do I need to let my relationship go? Be willing to surrender all those things and ask the question, what do I need to shift? And then finally, follow your joy and your bliss. Dig into who you are. Understand what your needs are. Understand what makes you tick. Understand what brings you joy and happiness. Joy and bliss are your compass. They will lead you towards your purpose. They will lead you towards your authentic self. Draw a line in the sand and say, no more. I will stop denying my needs. I will stop denying who I am. I will listen to my emotions as the road signs. If it feels bad, it's not right for me. If it feels good, it's good for me within reason. That is not an ego thing. We are not to be irresponsible and eat 10 bags of potato chips and sit on the couch all day. That's not healthy. And that is not what your emotions are telling you. So there's going to have to be some discernment in there. And I also have a video on that, so you can check that out. But for now, just know that you are not alone. You are deeply, deeply loved. You are needed. Your gifts are needed. You, happy, joyful, blissful you is needed. And that's why this is happening to you, to get you to wake up, to step into your authenticity so you can shine your light and be a gift and be of service to the rest of the world. So love on yourself. Give yourself a hug for me. I'm sending you lots of love, and I'm here to support you in this journey. You have so many good things coming for you, and life is amazing. It's freaking awesome when you get through this yuck to the other side. So come see me on the other side. I love you very much, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Take care. Namaste, my friends.